All of you are on mute. You can use chat window or raise your hand so that I can unmute you. If you want to speak, you can raise your hand. I can unmute you, or else you can use the chat window, or else you can use the thumbs up available on the chart for confirmations. So thank you all for confirming that you all can see the screen and hear me. Before we begin, let me introduce myself. I'm Preeti here. I have more than 15 years of experience into IT and a vast experience in DevOps. I have played different roles in my career and currently working as a DevOps manager, managing multiple pipelines and the CI/CD strategies across projects. That's a brief about myself, and I'm also a certified Kubernetes and Terraform professional. I have worked on Kubernetes setup from the scratch and the advanced concepts in my projects. So that experience I would like to share with my audience and help them to switch their careers into DevOps, make a growth in their careers if their careers are stagnant and stuck up with old technologies. Whoever are looking to make a move into DevOps, this course will help them. So that is the main agenda of the course, to make a switch to make a switch into DevOps, switch their career into DevOps, or if you are already working into DevOps, you can work confidently in your projects and clear the interviews. So that is the main purpose or the agenda of the course. Here, all the real scenarios will be covered, right? Like whatever you see in your daily life, you can relate to them. If you're already working on DevOps projects but missing the concepts and lacking confidence to work on that, this course will help you. Similarly, if you want to clear your interviews and make a move into DevOps career from another technologies or another backgrounds, like we have people from different backgrounds as well. So irrespective of your professional background or education background, this DevOps course is suitable for everyone. So today it's like an overview or intro of the course, but which is very important, where I'll give you a high level, a big picture of what is DevOps, why DevOps, who should learn DevOps, and who are eligible to take up this course, and what are the prerequisites you need, and many more things. It's more about how the course would be. So I'll give you complete clarity on what are all the things we'll provide. There is another very most important thing which I need to cover here, which is the LMS we are providing. That's a plus for our course, or an add-on, I would say, a great add-on, where where we have feedback from multiple people who got selected, who have got multiple offers in their hand, right? This LMS, learning management system, will be given access to you. You all can log in, right? You can create an account with the Gmail and log in here. So this LMS is available for you, and this will have all the material which will help you make a move to your careers, like including the lab exercises, interview questions, quiz portal. All of this will help you to make a move, to make your switch easy, right? This LMS is, or the interview questions we have here, are curated ones. It's not just dumped from the interview. These are the ones which I have added with my experience when I sit in the interview panel, and similarly collected from the students, right? So this will help you a lot, and we have got a very great feedback from the students who have used it. So I'll take a walk through this in some time. Meanwhile, first let's begin with understanding what is DevOps and why DevOps came in, right? So let's get started. So let's begin with what is DevOps and all. Some of you might be aware of it. Like I told you, like there are people, experienced people who are working in DevOps, completely new people. So here the agenda would be, this course will again benefit everyone, irrespective of your experience, irrespective of your professional or education background, because every topic will be dealt from the basics till advanced concepts, right? So if you already know a few things here, like it will help you to revise and recap, and so that's how everyone will benefit in the course. So today I'll be covering about a high level picture, high level understanding of DevOps, roles and responsibilities, and what is the CI/CD pipeline, what are the tools and skill set we need to know. So let's get started. In some time, I'll walk you through what are all the provisions you have with this training by going through the LMS. I'll walk you through the LMS in some time. So first, let us understand why DevOps came in. What is DevOps, right? When you are learning something, it's very important to know what is it and why you need to know it, right? So DevOps, as the name says, it's a combination of two teams, dev and ops. So who are developers? People who write code, who write programs are called developers. You may call them as programmers, right? Or developers, whatever you call it. So the main purpose of them is they develop the code, they design the application, they build the application, right? And they work for delivering the application to the client, right? So of course, before it goes for delivery, it would be also tested, right? I'm including QA also under development. QA means testers, test professionals. Whenever application is ready, testers will test the application, whether it is meeting the standards, whether it is meeting the expectations of the client or not, right? So all of that would be verified, which is called a dev team. So just I have an understanding that yes, these are the major responsibilities of dev team would do. And who's an ops team? Ops teams or infrastructure team would be taking care of the servers, the services running on the servers, networks, logins, access, database, and so on. In short, I can say infrastructure management. All the infra management would be taken care by this team. And whenever dev team needs any infrastructural changes, isn't it? They want to test something. Let's suppose they need some new server or else new operating system. They would request the ops teams, and ops teams should serve the request. Before ops teams serve the request, ops teams would do a lot of checks. If this change is made, let's say if this new server is brought, are the existing infrastructure going to be stable? Is the existing infrastructure going to be stable? Or is it going to have any is it blocking or is it making any network disconnected, any servers going down? They would check all of these things, because if something goes wrong, infra team or ops team have to take care of it, right? So obviously this takes a lot of time. Meanwhile, developers are waiting for the changes. Developers here, I mean testing, also testing team as well. So they are waiting for the changes they need, and dev team doesn't understand why ops team is taking so much time to serve the request. Similarly, ops teams doesn't understand why dev team is taking lot of change, why they need all these changes, right? So there arises some gap between the teams because developers are still waiting. They don't know why ops team is taking so much time. Similarly, ops teams doesn't understand why developers would need all of these changes, because the main agenda of ops team is to maintain stability of the infrastructure. Correct? Infrastructure servers should be always stable, always services should be always up and running. Developers will look for agility because they need a new service or new OS to test their application and all. So their agenda is different. Also, their core competencies, their skills are different, isn't it? um, Developers would know some programming languages, right? They would know some DB, they'll be having some database skills, they'll be having some build tool knowledge. Similarly, if testers would be having some test tool knowledge, writing test scripts and all. So this is the overall, the general skill set of dev and QA team. Whereas the skill set of ops team is different, right? They would be working on deployments. They would be knowing, they would be working on automating the deployments in future. Let's see, I'm talking about without DevOps. So they would be knowing about deployments, about configuring the servers. They would be working on monitoring the infra, right? Their skills are different, correct? Their core competencies, their skills are different, and hence they can't understand each other's agenda. Means ops teams don't understand why they need this agility, and dev team doesn't understand why they need to have the infra stable and why they are taking so much time. So their core competencies are different, their skill set is different, and there arises the gap between the teams. No proper collaboration, no proper communication. There's some gap between the teams. How to eliminate this gap between the teams? How can we eliminate the gap between the teams? Is there any way that we can eliminate the gap between them so that they can work with proper collaboration, with a proper understanding, so that obviously the productivity would be great. So how is this possible? How can we make this possible? Appreciate your responses. You can unmute and speak. You can raise your hand. I can unmute you. Anyone want to share your ideas, your thoughts, if you already know the answer? Okay, Chandrasekhar says by having connection. Or connectivity between the teams. Yes, how can we bring those teams together? It's not that, see, there is some misunderstanding that DevOps teams or DevOps team will also write the code. No, there is still separate development team. There is still separate QA team will be there. DevOps team is not going to write the code, right? Then how can these teams be brought together? Yes, they are brought together for proper collaboration, proper understanding. It's not that DevOps team will go and write the code. So I'm listing the reasons why DevOps came in. One of the reasons is gap. Is that the only reason why DevOps came in, to eliminate the gap? Are there no other reasons? Definitely, there are many other reasons. Let us go to the second reason. Second reason is, yes, developer will write the code. They'll develop the application. Once the application is ready, that will be moved to testing team, right? This is the general SDLC cycle. Everyone would know. Like developers will write the code that will be sent to testers. They will test the application if it is meeting the client expectations or not. Once it is meeting the client's expectations, they will, like a development team and QA team, will hand over this application to ops team. Okay, let me put it this way. Just a second. Hmm. So that would go for testing. This process keep on continuing. Testers will test the application. If they identify some bugs, they will send it to developers again. They'll fix it. This process keep on continuing till the application is bug free, defect free. No bug free or defect free. Once that's a defect free, it will be shared to the operations team. Again, I'm talking about without DevOps. Okay, there is something like operations team. They will share this application to the operations team. So application will be shared to the operations team along with some instruction document. What is this instruction document? What are all the things the application needs? What are all the softwares? What are all the hardware required for this application? All the application dependencies will be documented here and share it to ops teams. So ops teams will follow this instruction document and deploy this application. But this instruction document may not be working sometimes, or else it might not be completely understood by ops teams because it's written by developers. Their understanding might be different. They are having, like, they come from different skill set, right? So the document instructions given by developers may not be working always. They might not be understood by ops teams, right? Or else they might be working on some, let's say, on Linux servers, but not on Windows. So there are so many challenges by following this instruction document, and definitely it takes some time, and let's say 6 months for deployment. 6 months here, I mean 6 months for deployment. I mean, if there are anyone from different backgrounds, let me tell you, deployment means run the application so that end users can use it. Of course, first it will be deployed to testing, staging, and then to the final environment, prod environment, where end users will be using. So it will take some time because these are all the challenges. Means deployments were very slow, right? The application is ready, but it takes 6 months to reach the end users. How to make these deployments faster? Because that's what companies are looking for, right? Whenever there is a new feature developed, it should reach the end users immediately. It's not after 6 months. So how to make this process faster? How to increase the velocity of deployments? That's where again DevOps came in. But how can DevOps make it faster? Because in DevOps approach, yes, developers will write the code, testers will test it, but the way they hand over the application completely changed. Earlier, they would directly share the application, but now they were containerizing the application and sharing it. What is containerizing? It's again a separate concept where Docker and Kubernetes comes in. We are having a separate chapters dedicated for them. So for now, just ignore this, just understand the way they hand over the application completely changed and revolutionized, which brought DevOps, right? And they were sharing it to DevOps team, and the DevOps team will know this Docker and Kubernetes, right? So when the way of handing over the application completely changed because of this containerized way of handing over the application, they now ops teams need not work on these underlying dependencies. They can run this container seamlessly on Linux or Windows or anywhere, and the application is brought up immediately. New features are delivered immediately as soon as they are developed. Am I making sense? So the way of development change, the way of deployment change. So here I would like to bring up a point that it's not only DevOps team who will learn Docker and Kubernetes. Even though you are a developer, let's say you want to continue as a developer only because you like development, you want to develop, you have passion for it, you still want to become stay as a developer. But still you have to learn Docker and all, because the way you containerize the application, the way you hand over the applications change. And DevOps is a methodology. When you're working in such a methodology, everyone should know these tools and strategies. Am I making sense? Clear till this part? So the second reason would be increase the velocity of deployments. Deployments became faster, right? Because of the use of tools, of course, because of the automation, right? Docker, Kubernetes helps in containerizing application and sharing it, thereby eliminating all the underlying dependencies. The environmental differences would be eliminated. We'll deep dive into these things. Okay, I'm just giving a high level overview here. We are having separate chapters dedicated for Docker, Kubernetes, how it could make the deployments faster. Clear with the second reason why DevOps came in? A quick confirmation will help me. A thumbs up will also do. Operations team is nothing but a DevOps team, Raghu, now. Like they would be knowing the tools. Whoever know the process of once development team, QA team handovers the application to you, how to take it to production table with a complete automation process. That is what is DevOps. So whoever work in this process is called a DevOps team. Operations team is nothing but who will deploy. Now that's nothing but a DevOps team. It's not a simple operations team. It's a DevOps team, because once developers are ready with their code, the team who can take this application to production table automatically is nothing but DevOps, right? So deployments were faster. Then what next? It will overcome the challenges posed by traditional methodologies. This is another one. Hope you all know the traditional development life cycle, right? Let me give you an overview of it. Yes, second reason is clear. I'm coming to the third one. Third one is like, let's talk about SDLC. SDLC means Software Development Lifecycle. If anyone new here, it's nothing but sequence of activities involved in development, like requirement gathering, requirement, requirement analysis, design, coding, testing, and delivery and maintenance, right? So you have different phases, and like each phase goes one after the other, right? It goes one after the other. So after requirement gathered from the client, they will analyze it, design it, they will write the code, it goes for testing, and then application will be delivered. This is the basic software development life cycle you might have studied in your engineering kind of. So here I'm talking about a typical SDLC model, which is a waterfall which served the industry for decades. But it has got some challenges posed for both development teams and operations teams, right? So what are the challenges? There are few more questions from Sheikh and Raghu. I'll take up those questions in a while. Okay. So the challenges are this methodology is very slow. Like development is happened now. It goes for testing after some years, after some months, right? So it was slow. Meanwhile, developers will be working on new code. Then testers test the old code and comes up with the bugs in the old code. There'll be pressure on developers to work on the new code and fix the bugs in the old code which was developed 6 months back. If it is immediately tested, bug fixing becomes faster, but it was very slow process. So developers will have a lot of pressure. Also, it's not a flexible model. Let's suppose you are in design or coding. If client comes with new requirements, they cannot be accommodated. If they cannot accommodate new requirements and challenges, it doesn't work anymore in reality, right? Because it's always customer facing world. These days, clients comes with a new requirements always. But in waterfall model, let's say you got the requirements in 2024, they are freezed. No more additional requirements or modifications would be requested. The same will be delivered after 2026, right? Like a complete software will be delivered all at once after 2 years, where client doesn't need it anymore, because within these 2 days, lot of things changes, right? Business changes rapidly. It's a customer facing world. So if they cannot accommodate these challenges, these requirements, it doesn't work anymore. So these are all the challenges which waterfall methodology pose for development team. Similarly, ops team has challenges. As it is slow, they have to maintain the servers for longer duration. Maintaining servers up for longer duration is a challenge. I'm talking about everything manual here. Poor configuration management. Configuration management is a separate concept. We will be covering that with Ansible in our course. Here, just understand configuration management means no visibility or no proper handling of the infra. Like they don't know what is happening on what server, kind of. No detailed history on the server configurations. Again, poor monitoring, right? If the infrastructure is small, you may monitor it manually. But if infrastructure is huge, to monitor the servers, services, health of the applications, all of them cannot be done manually, right? You need a good monitoring tool. Even we will be covering monitoring tools like Prometheus and visualization tool as Grafana in this course. But yeah, these are all the challenges with the waterfall methodology. So how to overcome these challenges? To overcome these challenges, actually, Agile methodology came in. See, Agile is a process, it's a methodology, right? It was successful to overcome the challenges of development team, but challenges of ops team are still there, right? So that's where again DevOps came in, which can overcome challenges of both the teams. That's how it can overcome challenges of traditional methodologies. Right? You don't need to go and learn waterfall or agile and all, but just understand the difference so that you can appreciate the importance of DevOps. As we are talking about DevOps, agile, let me just give you some idea how it can overcome challenge of development team. In agile, there will be continuous releases. Every week there will be a release. Bug fixing became faster so that developers will not have pressure on old code and work on new code. Code is always stable and ready for release. It's not delivered after 2 years. Every week, every alternative week, there will be a release so that they can accommodate new changes and this entire process could be repeated. And if you take any week, let's say week 1, and code will be developed in bits and chunks, like let's say a chunk of code A is developed, right? On week 2, that particular code immediately goes for testing, right? So it becomes faster. Bug fixing can be done very quickly. Again, on week 3, at some point, definitely this A and B will be combined and tested. Of course, on week 2, another chunk of code B will be tested and they'll be combined and tested. So if you see here, every week, both development and testing happening. That's what is continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration means any change will be merged into the system and go through the entire process. That's how Agile can overcome challenge of dev team. But still, deployment is manual, like only after the complete development is done, it would be deployed and then monitored. With Agile, with DevOps, continuous development, developers will be writing the code, it would be tested, integrated, and any new feature developed will be immediately deployed. Continuous, the word continuous is important. Continuous deployment and continuous monitoring. That is what is DevOps. Means any feature, let's say developers made some changes. This is a desk of a developer. Any change made by developers will reach the production table automatically in few minutes, right? This process of automation is called CI/CD pipeline, right? From the desk of a developer till the code reaches production table automatically. This is called CI/CD pipeline. We will be focusing on the CI/CD pipeline in our course in depth on multiple applications, means multiple projects, right? And whoever want to work on this automation process is called a DevOps engineer. Irrespective of your education background or working background, you can become a DevOps engineer if you master these concepts. From the desk of a developer, how it reaches a production table automatically. Many tools are involved to automate this process. There are different strategies involved. If you master this, whoever master this can become a DevOps engineer. I'm again telling you, DevOps engineer will not write the code. Development team is still there, right? This is a development team who will write the code. Of course, development, when I say testing team also involved, who will test it and bring the application automatically. Of course, that testing can be automated in this pipeline. Once testers give the test cases, you can automate, you can run those test cases through this pipeline. Right? This is what DevOps does. Once the test case are executed, it's a build, it's deployed on lower environments, then it reaches production table. There are many gigantic app companies, applications which uses it like Amazon.com, Netflix, Facebook, all of them uses this DevOps approach of taking the code changes to production. Have you ever wondered whichever applications we are using in our daily life, like some banking applications or a Facebook or any shopping applications like Amazon.com, we see a feature delivered overnight, right? You suddenly see a new feature popping up. How is that possible with the implementation of DevOps? That's what companies need, right? They want to deliver the features faster to end users. That's how the business works. There's a huge competition, right, in the market. So whoever can deliver the features quickly to their end users can sustain in the market. That's what companies need. So that's where every company is stepping into DevOps approach. Almost all the gigantic companies are into it, and the mid-scale companies, startups are also stepping into it by understanding the benefit of this DevOps. Right? In couple of years, whoever knows this DevOps tools and automation strategies will survive in the market. The strongest will survive. So you need to put your time and effort to learn such skills, to expertise, to master such skill set. Is this much clear now, everyone? Have you understood why DevOps came in? I'm trying to help you with why DevOps came in. Are we good? Any questions in this part? DevOps team is not a prod support team exactly. I'll tell you, I'll come to that part, okay? Like how could be DevOps teams scattered in the real world, right? How do you cater to the DevOps needs? I'll talk about it in some time, okay? So now that you understood DevOps, let me clarify what is DevOps. We already got an idea of what DevOps is, right? DevOps is nothing but continuous development. Developers will keep writing the code. It would go for testing, continuous testing. It would be integrated into the existing changes, continuous deployment, continuous monitoring. This is what is DevOps. If you want me to compare it with the SDLC like waterfall, in waterfall, you have so in waterfall, you have development. Once complete development is done, it would be going for testing. Then it goes for deployment, then monitor, one after the other, right? And then Agile came in. Agile is successful to certain extent. There is also continuous development. Developers keep on writing the code, then testing, then integration. But then deployment is manual, and then it is about monitoring. But in DevOps, you can see continuous development. The term continuous, iterative or continuous, repetitive, this is important, right? If you want me to differentiate with respect to teams, in SDLC, dev team, major teams, I'm talking about major teams, dev team, QA team, and ops teams. They're working in silos as a separate team, each one not understanding challenges of others. But in Agile, because development testing happening parallelly, iteratively, continuously, because every week both development and testing happening, there's a collaboration between them. They communicate well and collaborate well. That's what is they brought together as a dev team. Sorry. Yeah, they were brought together as a dev team. 1 second, I withdraw this. Development, testing, and okay. These two teams were brought together with a proper collaboration, proper understanding, and we call them as a dev team. That's why I mark QA also here as they work together. But still, ops teams is left in silos or in isolation without understanding the challenge of other. But then with the DevOps, because deployment also happens every day, they need to collaborate and communicate very often, right? That's made a DevOps team. DevOps team is nothing but teams working with a proper collaboration, proper understanding. It's not that in DevOps team you'll have developers, testers, and all. Development is still separate team. QA team is a separate team, right? DevOps team is who will work for deployments and the underlying infrastructure, but they work with a proper collaboration communication because they develop something immediately, it would be going for deployment. So developers should understand that CI pipeline, CD pipeline, and because the pipeline is there which builds it, tests it, and deploys it, everyone should know if something goes wrong and with the developers bug, they should know like what's happening with their code, how it is deployed. So everyone should be involved in that pipeline, understanding the pipeline at least, where DevOps team will create the pipeline and work on the fixing it. But still, if it is an issue from development team, that would be sent back to developers where they have to look into. So that's how everyone is engaged with it, and that's where collaboration comes in. Is this much clear, everyone? Now, there was few questions like, is production support team or DevOps team? Let me tell you, there were different companies, different organizations or companies or teams, how they work with a DevOps team. There is a no hard and fast rule, this is how DevOps team should be. In some companies, at DevOps, there will be something like DevOps development team. DevOps development team doesn't mean that they go and write the code. DevOps development means they create the pipelines, right? And they create the infra. So everything will be taken care by DevOps team. That's called DevOps development. There'll be something called DevOps support team. Means this is where developers will create their own pipelines. Developers can create their pipelines. That's why everyone should learn it. Sometimes developers will create the pipeline and they can also create the infra using Terraform and all. But if something is broken, okay, something is pipeline is broken or else infra is not working, so to fix that, developers comes in, DevOps teams comes in, right? Initial pipelines would be created and managed by them, but if something goes wrong, there'll be DevOps support team. That's called DevOps support. DevOps development team means they would create it. In some companies, this is the strategy how it is used. In some companies, there'll be DevOps team who will do both, means who will create the pipelines, who will fix the pipelines, entire thing would be taken care by. So there's no hard and fast rule. This is how it should be. It depends on the orgs, companies, and so on. Particularly in startup, everything will be one, like development and support will be done by the same team. But in some bigger companies, there'll be say, developers who will create the pipelines and create their infra. But if something broken, they would avail support from DevOps teams. That's a DevOps support. It could be a production support or whatever it is. Hope that answers your question, Salik Khan. Is that clear now? I'm picking up questions from the chat one by one. If your question is answered, please let me know. And there is a question from Raghu. I have a 10 years of experience in development. Can I transition to DevOps instrument role? Perfectly, you can. Like I told you, like you already know the development process, what you are doing, how you are handing over your application. You are well versed with the process. Now, if you can automate that process, means okay, after developers hand over the application, what are all the things DevOps teams would automate? If you learn that, definitely you are eligible for this. And there is a question from Guru. When pipeline is already built, what will be the role of DevOps with team as pipeline building is building is one time, but there'll be lot many challenges, lot many things that blocks the pipeline. Right? There will be pipeline, broken pipelines, issues with the deployments, issues with pushing the image, authentication issues, or else infrastructure might be failing, or they need to scale up the infrastructure. They may want to deploy into different environments. So many challenges would be coming up. Pipeline creation may be one time job, but after pipeline is created, there'll be still a lot of work. And one more thing I would like to highlight as I'm talking about what is DevOps. DevOps is a methodology. It's not a tool or it's not a technology or it's not some automation. It's a methodology. Methodology means a process which is a continuous process. Continuous process means it's not that you achieve in a day or two. It's not something you can achieve in an overnight. Always, it's a continuous improvement. There'll be always scope of improving your pipelines and automating the deployments. It's not just one time task, right? There'll be always scope for improvement. Let's say you are deploying now to in one way, you can further automate it, you can further make it better, because there'll be always challenges in these pipelines. So that's what DevOps is, a continuous process of improvement. It's not something you achieve in an overnight or you implement in an overnight. It's a methodology, it's a continuous process of implementation, and it's a process of collaboration. Collaboration with other teams is very important. Now, DevOps teams collaborate on regular basis with the dev teams and testing teams. So that's how they understand their challenges. They communicate a lot, they collaborate a lot, they work as a single team, like with a proper understanding and without a without a blame game. So that is what is DevOps, right? And another question from Raghu: if I transition to DevOps role, should I present myself as a DevOps, new to DevOps, or someone with a 10 years of experience considering my development background? Firstly, let's say you are a developer for 10 years, right? If you want to make a move, you can put 5 years as a developer and rest of the five as a DevOps. Like, let's say you have done the deployment. I mean, you have worked on development, developing the code and building it manually. Now you would integrate the tools into the project, like in your current project, and you can claim as a 5 years experience on DevOps and five as a developer. That's a best way to portray your complete profile. And again, you are keeping 5 years experience. Yes, this course will help you gain that kind of experience, because here I'm covering all the real time scenarios, the strategic solutions I'm covering here. Like in the real time, we use EKS, auto scaling, and all. So all of those such features, as just an example I'm giving. So all of those scenarios will be covered, which you can implement or apply to your projects, relate to your work environments, and add it in your resumes accordingly. To your project, you will add it. So that's how you can claim an experienced professional. The only thing we are looking for from you is your dedication and your time, your effort. Every day you need to do hands-on. It's a complete hands-on course. Today, because it's a high level, we were talking a lot. Tomorrow onwards, we will do the hands-on as well. I mean, tomorrow, instance, once the course begins, we will get started with the hands-on. Every tool will be dealt from basics till advanced. All the complete hands-on will. How we'll do and all we'll discuss. Salik Khan, I think I answered your question. Production support, DevOps team could be also a support team. How do you understand? Read the job description. You should read your job description. You should go through your job description and understand what they were looking for. Okay, there's a question from Salik Khan. In my project, I believe they only have CD pipeline and not both says. What is the basic difference in these two? CI is nothing but like developers are writing the code, right? Once the code is written, there'll be continuous builds. Build the code, right? Then execute the test cases, then integrate into the system. This part, of course, again, there'll be something like code reviews, coverage analysis, all of that can be integrated in the pipeline. Like code reviews can be there in the pipeline, right? Coverage analysis, all of them are done with the build tools. We will also cover this in the course. It's nothing with the coding, but how to automate the code reviews, how to automate the coverage analysis, and then executing test cases, then integrate. This part is CI part, right? Then deploy the application to first to lower environment. That's what is continuous deployment part. That's what is CI CD. CD means deploy the application in lower environment first, development environment, then test, then UAT, and then pre-prod, and then prod, right? And also during deployment, you would also need the infrastructure, which you will spin the infrastructure with Terraform. All that comes under CD part. Hope that's clear now. We will deep dive into these things. Okay, it's not, we can't cover that in just 2 minutes or in a 1 hour. Okay, we have vast chapters on it. Let me take you through the topics I cover here. So till now, whatever we were talking about, drawbacks of waterfall, Agile, everything is documented here. These presentations will be available for you so that you can go through from your end as a revision. So what are the roles and responsibilities of a person, of a DevOps engineer? Like I told you, you might be working as a support engineer for DevOps, or else you might be working as a DevOps engineer who will create the pipelines. So you might be working on any stage in the pipeline. or supporting the pipelines, or creating the infra. Infra here could be the Kubernetes clusters and making deployments on Kubernetes clusters. All of these comes under roles and responsibilities. Please listen here. I'll take up the questions in a while. I'm having so many questions in the chat. I can take up those. Also, please let me know if you want to unmute and speak. I can unmute you guys. If you want to speak, raise your hand. I can unmute you. So just coming about responsibilities. So these are all the responsibilities. All those tasks and the scenarios we'll be covering in the course so that you can answer this question better in the interview. Right? Like from the day one, we will be doing lot of hands-on. All those scenarios are the comes under the responsibilities of a DevOps engineer. Again, there'll be sprint for a DevOps team, right? Like any other teams will have their sprint in Jira, like we'll have our own sprint where we'll get the task from the development teams, or we'll have a task from the SRE teams where we have to do some monitoring and all of those tasks will be there in the sprint. There'll be sprint planning, which would be led by the DevOps lead, and the DevOps team would be involved here. So again, the story points, everything, the sprint goes in like for any other team. And accordingly, those tasks or stories would be covered in the particular sprint. That's how we get the task, right? Even the product teams will be involved if they have some requirements. So that's how the task would come to a DevOps person, right? We will elaborate, we'll discuss more on this. Coming to the skills of a DevOps engineer. So these are the skill set a DevOps engineer need, like a version control system, build automation tool, continuous integration tools, containerization tool, infrastructure as a code tool, container orchestrator, monitoring tools, and cloud computing as a AWS. So here our main agenda is DevOps, right? In this course, after this course, you can get into any you after this course you can get into, you can implement your DevOps on any platform. Means you can implement DevOps irrespective of the platform. Like I told, it's a methodology. It's not dependent on whether it is on-prem or AWS or Azure. So you will be able to apply your DevOps strategies on any platform. And in the version control system, we'll be covering Git, which is very widely used. Learn and master one tool under each category. So I'm using the more widely used tools so that you get more job perspectives. And so these are the some brief list of tools. And I'm covering the DevOps irrespective of the platform, as well as an example, I'm also covering it on AWS. So you'll get exposure to cloud as well. And again, interview panelists will see that whether you are comfortable in cloud or not, but they wouldn't see that whether you know AWS, then they only need AWS guys or Azure guys, because every day new clouds are emerging, right? So new clouds are coming up. They are looking for people. If you know one cloud, you should be flexible enough to move to any other cloud because they are simple. They are similar, right? Like let's say version control system. If you know Git, you can work with any other tool like SVN, TFS, and so on. Concepts would be similar. Analogy would be similar. Same is the case. If you know AWS, you can work with Azure or GCP very easily. It's not that you are going to learn all the clouds, all the tools. Master one tool under each category. Expertise one tool under each category. That's what I'm covering and I have highlighted here. That's what even companies are looking for, because like every day new tools are emerging in the market, DevOps market. Like there were so many tools, so many clouds coming up. If you master one tool under the category, you can switch to any other clouds. That's the expectation from the companies. Okay, there is a question from Avinash. He's a fresher and he says DevOps engineer is not for freshers. What is your view on this? Avinash, every team will have different experience level of people. Like a development team will have seniors like 15 to 16 years experience or more. They'll have 7 to 8, 5 to 6, even 0 to 1 as well in development team. Same applies for DevOps as well. They need different experience levels of people. Depending on their experience, tasks will be assigned. So a fresher with this skill set, if you can add this skill set in your resume, it will be a definitely add an advantage and you will stand out on the crowd. Because you know how many number of people comes out every year, you know the stats, right? You very well know the stats than me as an engineering graduate or a graduate coming out, you know the stats. So how do you stand? How do you make yourself stand out in the crowd? How do you catch the attention of the interviewers? By adding such a skill set, such a tools which are very hot in the market. And a fresher having knowledge in this skill set is a very great advantage because companies don't need to spend additional time for the training, right? Now you know the market, right? Companies are looking for people who are skilled, not someone who they will hire and then they will give the training. They don't want to spend that time and money on the candidates. If a candidate comes with that skill set, definitely that's an advantage for that. For such candidates, companies would look at. Particularly at this time, a skilled people, a skilled professional will survive in the market. So I think I answered your question. And there are many other questions. I'll covering those as well. Just give me a minute. Okay, I'm taking questions one after the other. There are few more which I need to take up. Give me a few minutes. So this is the skill set we are covering here, and all of this will be covered in Linux. I'll be covering Linux basics, whichever needed for the course. So you don't need to worry if you are new to Linux background. It's another environment, like how to navigate with a file system that will do. All of that will be covered from the basics. How we'll cover this, how this course is designed and all, let me show you. And again, this is the CI/CD pipeline we'll be covering in this course, right? You can see here Git, right? Maven, Jenkins, Docker, and so on. Here we will start the pipeline from the beginning. Like first we'll focus on Git. We'll master Git from basics till advanced concepts. I'll cover Git, right? Basics till advanced concepts will be covered. Once we learn it, we'll start building this pipeline. Okay, we'll start pipeline with Git. Then we'll go and learn again Jenkins from basics till advanced. We'll master it, come back and add it in the pipeline. That's how we'll zoom into each section in this pipeline and master it and create this pipeline. Creating this pipeline will take some time, like a 2 months we have. During this course, we'll create this pipeline step by step. As and when we learn it, we'll come back and integrate it. It's not just learning the tool and moving on. It's all about how are we integrating into our pipeline and how are we best utilizing it. Means best implementing the real scenarios, right? That will be covered on multiple applications. I'll be covering a microservice application as well, where the CI/CD pipeline would be built. Again, this would be covered on AWS cloud. So that will give you good exposure to cloud. Right? This is the pipeline wherein we'll zoom, like I said, we'll zoom into every part. What is CI? What is CD? Where are you involved as a DevOps person? Right? We'll master every tool here. This is just to give you some idea how the CI/CD would look like. So developers writing the code, it would go for continuous builds, continuous testing using some test automation tool, then continuous deployment using Docker, Kubernetes. Infrastructure will provisioned by Terraform and configured by Ansible, and it would be monitored by Prometheus and visualized on Grafana. What is all of this, isn't it? So don't worry and don't panic about it. Like I told you, we'll be zooming into every section here, deep dive into each part before we progress, right? But how do we do all of that? How is that possible? This is all possible with a design, with a well designed. The course is well designed. Out of my personal experience, I have designed the course in such a way that like what is really helpful for the candidates. Just a second, right? So you can just create your own account. Everyone, please log into this. The link is shared in the Zoom chat. Please log into it and create your own account so that you can see the LMS. You may not be able to access entire thing, but certain things were available for access, like for a trial version. Okay, I think you did not receive the link. Let me share the link. Hope you got the link now. So you can go there and register. I mean, create a free account so that you will get the trial version of the LMS, right? right? So once you go here, let me log in and show you what are all the things you can eval here. Right, so once you go here, you'll have the syllabus. The course is designed in a way that like the topics needed for a candidate in the real projects were given importance, and that's how the course is done. Of course, few topics are missing on this curriculum. Actually, I'm also covering JFrog, Argo CD. Those things were not documented here. We have to update the content with those topics. Those topics will also be covered. And another thing is, if you just go to the drop down, there will be something like my learnings, right? You can go here for my learnings and you will see the courses whichever you have registered for. So we can go for something like, okay, so this is the one, like once you click the link I have shared, you will see here, these are the demo class and all. If you just go to the details, yeah. See, this is your LMS, right? You will have the recordings available here for your class. Everyday class recording will be uploaded here. And here you can see, yeah. Here are the lab exercises, quiz or interview questions. Let's say let's suppose we covered Git topic today. The lab exercises related to this will be here. Also the quiz for that particular day and the interview questions on the topic we have covered. That's how for every day you will be provided with the lab exercises, the guide where you can do the hands-on, and the quiz for the particular day for understanding, for checking your understanding, and the interview questions, right? That's one thing. Or else, let's suppose you have an interview. If you just directly go to the lab exercises, that is also, you can also check all the lab exercises here. If you go to the lab, 1 minute. So here is the complete lab assignments. Let's say you want to do the hands-on all in one go, or else if you just want to focus on the assignments, this is how tool-wise you have. See, Git will be covered in 5 days. All those 5 days quiz you can see, lab assignments you can see here. These documents are created with a great care so that you can do hands-on easily. Because we see people stuck up on the hands-on, spend some time there, miss out doing their hands-on, lose interest. To avoid that, we have curated the documents with exact steps and explanations so that you can do your hands-on easily. Hands-on is a mandatory for DevOps. That is our focus. Similarly, you may go for any other tool, right? You have complete guides, complete hands-on available so that you can follow and do your hands-on. Similarly, all the quiz will be available at one place where you can do the hands-on. Let me take you to the quiz portal, right? Let's say you are having some interview, right? If you want to check your understanding, tool wise you have the quiz all available here, right? Similarly, interview questions, let me take you to the interview questions. Day wise LMS lab exercise are documented here. If you want to just go through all of them in one go, also available. See, beginner level interview questions, intermediate level or advanced level, and scenario based, everything were there. This interview guide is having lot of importance. We received a very great feedback on these interview questions, which will help you before the interview, right? There were people who cleared their interviews with this particular set. So please go through that. This will help you a lot. So these are all the things you will be evaluating once you enroll for the course. Uh, Raghu, I unmuted you. I see a hand raise. You are unmuted.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sure, ma'am. These things are the question and answers are really great. You put it into different bucket, beginners, intermediate, and advanced. Sometimes, if I'm going for an interview, they're asking, "Hey, just what domain you worked on? Explain about the project first." Then only they're asking the technical questions. So, how can I tell okay, these are the project, these are the domain, these are the things I worked on, these are the things working on. In addition to that, what is a very more complex scenario you worked on, like that they're asking. So that's why how I can prepare for that, and what is your input on that?
Okay, let me answer this question covering all the experience levels. Let's suppose it's a fresher, right? We have freshers as well here. If it's a fresher, definitely there will be no question on projects. They'll explain on like the technical questions, like what are the tools used for and like how they are helpful, kind of. So for freshers, this is not applicable. Now, coming to experienced people, it could be 1 year or 2 year, whatever it is. Let's say you are a 2 years developer, right? You will relate the scenarios. Let's say I'm covering here Docker and I'm explaining containerizing concept. Containerizing concept means like you will containerize your application and create a Docker image so that it works in any environment seamlessly. That's what we learned here, and I'll be teaching you it on a microservice application as well as a monolithic. I'll cover both of that. Now you will apply the same scenario to your project which you are working from 2 years. Let's say you are working as a developer for 2 years. You haven't containerized, but you are just sharing the application directly, like we learned today in the beginning. But now you will add in your resume that for the same project, you have containerized the application here in this way, right? So that's how you will relate the tools, whichever you learned in your existing project. Like, let's say you have 10 years of experience, add like 5 years you have worked, you are now moving to DevOps and moving your project or migrating the project, implementing DevOps tools. That's how you will relate and add it in your resume. And for that customization, for that we can help out on you personally for everyone. How can you relate those tools to your particular existing project? That kind of help we can do. And also coming to the challenges and scenarios, like I told you, it's a complete hands-on, right? We cover many scenarios here. During these scenarios, you face lot of challenges, errors, lot of troubleshooting is needed. Those are nothing but the challenges which you can explain. For example, here today I'm covering containerization and Docker build failed. Docker build is failing because you are trying to copy, containerize some var file which is not at all built during the process. That we'll see in our pipeline. The same thing you can explain because that's a real scenario. Like for a support, a DevOps support, we see this support issues a lot. Right? I have experience working in both in the DevOps support as a DevOps developer. DevOps developer in the sense who created the pipelines from the scratch, who created the infrastructure, everything from the scratch. So I see these issues as a support engineer, like there will be a support Jira raised because the build failing because there is no jar file they're trying to copy. So you have to identify the issue. These are nothing but the real challenges. You come across lot of such scenarios which you can add in your resume. Still, you need any personal help relating to your project, we are there to help you. Hope
Thank you,
that
ma'am.
answers your
Thank you,
question.
ma'am.
Okay, and there is another question from Rishi. If I were to set up home lab, how many virtual machines will I need to set up full lab end to end? Does DevOps also facilitate in CI/CD of monolithic applications as well? Yes, Guru. Okay, sorry, I combined two questions. That's a question from Rishi. First, let me answer Rishi's question. For your lab setup, it will be completely free lab setup. We'll be having our lab setup on AWS. We'll be using cloud AWS where we'll set up our lab for free and do the complete hands-on. But in the same lab setup, I'll be using some cloud native services to show how AWS services can implement DevOps. I will also show you on AWS, but not by using cloud native services. So you will you will experience it like an on-premise kind of setup as well as DevOps on cloud. So you will get exposure to both the kind of strategies, right? Yes, and one more thing, DevOps is a methodology. It's not just for microservice or more. It can, your DevOps can help. I mean, DevOps can be implemented for any applications, irrespective of the technology, irrespective of the platform and all. It's a methodology. And now a question from Guru. Do we have a simulating lab or should we use a personal system for hands-on? If as configurations. Guru, like I told you, you don't need to have the setup on your personal laptop. We will have our lab setup on cloud where you can directly connect and avail that. You don't need to spend or expand your resources like RAM and all. No. All of the resources will be consuming from cloud within the free tier limit, right? And a question from Avinash. I searched in various resources. Many are providing DevSecOps. Avinash, give me a minute. I'll come to DevSecOps in few minutes. Let me answer few more queries. There's a question from Vamshi. As I'm an Oracle database administrator, I would like to understand how DevOps practices can be beneficial for me. Okay, for my role, could you please explain how DevOps can help optimize database management, automation, and deployment in a DBA environment? Also, are there specific tools or methodologies that I should focus enhance my DB skills with the DevOps? Vamsi, as just now I answered, DevOps is irrespective of the platform and the technology, right? If it's your database application, even it can be containerized, it can be deployed on Kubernetes. Till now, you might be using database on-prem servers or else on some virtual machines. Right now, you have AWS database services as well, or else you can containerize your database application irrespective. See, you already know the database concepts, right? Like the schema, database schema, how tables, all of that you know already. Now you will containerize the database and deploy it on Kubernetes cluster and monitor it with Prometheus and Grafana. So that's how you are deploying your database application to DevOps. That's how you will be related into. Yes, and like I told you, I'm covering microservice application. In that microservice application, database is also a service which we are deploying in we are containerizing it and deploying in Kubernetes. Even I'm covering this use case. So always like any person who can automate this process can be a DevOps engineer, and that's how everyone would be related into a database guy or a network engineers. All of them comes into play. I think I answered your question. If still you have a question on that, please let me know. And okay, there is okay, these are answered. Okay. And yeah, now coming to Avina's question, DevSecOps. See, DevOps is all about speeding up your deployment process, right? Taking your application to production tables very faster with quality. Quality comes in because developers are continuously developing it. It's been continuously tested, built. All of this process happens iteratively multiple times a day. Means whenever developer make a code change, this process repeats and quality is there, right? Speed is there. Applications are reaching the end users very faster. Then very security. Integrating those securities also in the pipeline is nothing but DevSecOps. DevSecOps, DevOps overlaps each other. There's a lot of overlapping. Only security part is what is integrated in DevOps is nothing but DevSecOps. So we call them as a DevOps engineer or DevSecOps engineer. Both are same because in DevOps, like everyone in a company, in an organization, definitely security will be integrated. In the same pipeline, we are talking about the scanning, code coverage, code analysis, right? Code scanning will be done by using certain tools like our plugins through Maven. Code scanning will be done using sonar scanning and many other tools are there. See, those are integrated. Those comes with a Maven build automation tools. So scanning can be done, and once you containerize it, you create a Docker image. That image would be scanned, vulnerabilities checked for the image by using some scan tools. There is a AWS service which helps in image scanning. Also, there are other tools like Snyk and all, which will do image scanning. All of that in integration with the DevOps pipeline is nothing but DevSecOps. Definitely in real time, every pipeline will have these stages like scanning the code, scanning the images, vulnerability checks. If there is something crucial, the pipeline will be blocked, which is nothing but DevSecOps. Can we do live hands-on with the trainer, says Saurav. Saurav, I'll be doing hands-on in the class. Like whoever interested can do the hands-on along with me. But the suggestion is listen in the class and do the hands-on after the class. We'll be providing recordings. You can do the hands-on after the class because the purpose is listen first so that you don't miss out anything and then do the hands-on by watching the recording. If anyone is interested to do along with me, you can. Any more questions from anyone? Have you all logged into this one? This is a free trial version of the LMS available so that you can experience the LMS and see the importance of it. Once you log in, you can see the huge course content, huge materials which will help you. Have you all logged in? Can I know how many of you guys have logged into it? Shyam, if you have any trouble logging into your LMS, please you can ping Mr. Raj. This is the WhatsApp number of Mr. Raj. Any questions you have regarding the training, you can ping him. He will help you. Like regarding access, if you couldn't access, please ping on this WhatsApp number. He's a Raj. He's our training counselor. He can help you with all the queries you have. If you still have any queries after the course about the course content or anything you have, you can reach out to him. And if anyone want to talk to him, you can reach out to him. He can arrange a call with me. Right? Please, everyone, create an account and experience the LMS. Once you log in here, go to this drop down, you will see My Learnings. So if once you go to the My Learnings, you can see your course you are enrolled into, which is 6th April one. And that's how you can get started experiencing the LMS. Yeah, DevOps skills and role-based interview questions. Like you can see, like there is a lot more. I cannot be possible for me to show every page. There's a lot more things which will help you clear your interviews. I would like everyone to avail benefits from this curated content which we have created over years. This is not just developed in a day by dumping from the internet. This took all my experience to create this. I would like every one of you to experience and avail benefit from this. So please explore the LMS. You have lot many things to check there. Shyam, I'll just connect with you. Please drop your number. Okay, after this class, I'll reach out to you. If you still have access to this, please drop your number to me in this chat. I'll reach out to you. And I would like to tell you one more thing. We are learning DevOps, right? It can be used, means you can apply for different variety of jobs, not only with the DevOps. There'll be jobs pertaining to each tool as well. Like if you know Docker, if you know Master, you have jobs around it. Kubernetes, of course, it's a hot one in the market. It's a highly demanded one. If you expertise Kubernetes, you have a very great job perspective. The salary trends are also high on Kubernetes, Terraform, right? So if you master Kubernetes, right, you only learning or mastering Kubernetes alone have jobs. That's what I am trying to tell. Thanks, Shyam. Noted the number. I'll give you a call back immediately after this class. Yes, I'm covering EKS as well in Kubernetes. Kubernetes is covered here along with EKS. EKS is very widely used and I have great experience on EKS where I'm covering auto scaling as well. Auto scaling, like again, how do you implement, do the deployments with Argo CD using GitOps principles? All of that will be covered. Sure, Chandrasekhar, noted your number. You're from non-IT background. Okay, I'll give you a call. Chandrasekhar and Shyam, noted your numbers. Okay, Guru, I see your hand raise. 1 second. You are unmuted. You can talk.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, Guru, I can
Yeah,
hear.
hi Preeti. So thanks for the detailed session. Just wanted to understand, like, by availing these, will you be, I mean, like, how depth we can be use these skills, like Kubernetes, right? Log into the pods and checking all the details and all. Will those covered, or it's like getting intro? You covered
All
about
of
EK.
that will be covered, Guru. Logging into a pod is a very basic thing in Kubernetes. That is
Yeah,
a
yeah, I understand. Yeah.
actually that is covered. The advanced concepts like auto scaling will be covered, right? Using ingress controllers, routing, path-based routings will be covered, right? The persistent volumes, taking a backup of database will be covered. Using GitOps principles to deploy on EKS cluster will be covered. EKS is a paid service. I'm also covering it. So you can understand like how depth with this will be covered. With the Kubernetes content we are covering, you can definitely claim the experience up to 5 years.
Okay.
Will help you like restructure your base with a And this is the our YouTube channel. You can also subscribe to this and check the demo videos from the previous. And here are the interview questions, DevOps interview questions, as the videos were also provided here for quick learning. We have very great feedback from this, so I would like every one of you to experience it and utilize this. Any more questions? So, like I told you, here is the course content. Again, that's a brief content that's not updated. If you have any questions on particular topic is covered or not, we'll try to update the course content as well. Many additional things were added over there. We'll try to add them like a JFrog as an artifactory, and we are covering Jacoco as a code coverage analysis tool, and then the GitOps principles. All of that will add here. But if you have any questions, you can reach out to us. You can call Mr. Raj on this number or ping him for any further queries, or I can give you a call if you want to. So that is about the course content and the agenda in high level. The course will begin from April 6th, right? This is an intro or a kind of demo. Start date would be April, Salikan. April 6th is the course starting date, and you have early bird offer. If you enroll before April 1st, you have a discount on the course fee. You can reach out to Mr. Raj on the course fees. So here are the offer details you have. So you can check, and also you can reach out Mr. Raj if you further still have any queries. And whoever go with this early bird offer will have access to the videos before, like you will get access to previous batch recording as well, so that before the batch begins, you can also go through them before the batch starts on April 6th. That's a offer, the advantage you have for early bird offer. Immediate access to previous class recordings, and also all the LMS access you will have access to if you are going with the early bird offer. Yes, Alagar, auto scaling will be covered. Auto scaling on the cluster auto scaling as well as the pod auto scaling will be covered. Like vertical and horizontal pod auto scaling will, vertical and horizontal auto scaling will also be covered. Many are implementing AI in DevOps courses like GPT, Snyk, and KubeCost are implementing AI. Avanish, like companies are using, not every company is using AI. They were having their own AI tools, right? And not AI is being implemented in DevOps. AI can be used an assistant in DevOps, but AI cannot be used in place of DevOps. It will be like for reference or a helping hand, you can use it. I'll be covering Chat GPT, how it can be helpful as a helping hand. But AI or the Chat GPT will not replace any DevOps engineer. How to use Chat GPT for your pipelines, or where you can eval the help, that I'll cover. Code scanning tools will be covered. Like you will get an idea of how to use Snyk or any other image check tools, image scanning tools actually. Any more questions from anyone? So this is the class start date, and you can reach out to us for any other queries. Thank you all for joining
Uh,
on your
Preeti,
Sunday.
one more question.
Yes,
Sorry.
Guru, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, is this access a time based thing, or it's like how does that access to portal and everything goes?
You will have a lifetime access, Guru.
Okay.
Once you enroll for the course, you will have LMS access to the course.
Okay, for the lab setup also?
Lab setup will be creating a free account on AWS, which will be 1 year free, right? Beyond that, if you want to go ahead, you can create another account, another free account. Means with a Gmail account, we'll create our AWS, right? AWS account will be created with our Gmail.
Okay, that our free
1
tier
year.
access, you mean?
For 1 year. Once it is expired, you can use another email ID and create another free account. That's how you can extend your lab.
Okay, so okay, AWS. Okay, got it.
All right, then. I answered all the queries which I have in the chat. And there is a question from Avanish, will you teach in Telugu? Avanish, Telugu will not be used because in the interviews or in the organizations, if you have to explain something technically, definitely you do in English, not in Telugu, right? So you should also develop that. Definitely, that is very important in the interviews as well as when you speak or explain something to your client or users or communicate with the developers, you speak in your English and you have to explain technically the things. So that's why we'll be using English for all the course content. Learning or teaching in Telugu will not help you to cover these points. All right, then. If any further queries you have, you can reach out on this number. You can reach out, Mr. Raj, and I have noted few numbers where I'll be calling you after this class. Thank you all. Thank you all once again for spending your time with us on your Sunday morning. Thank you all. Have a good day. And the class recording will be available in your LMS. Hope you all have logged in and created an account in your LMS. This class recording will be uploaded into LMS in few minutes. If anyone have missed the session or joined late, you can watch the recording in your LMS. Go to your My Learnings. You will see the course as April 6th. And if you get into it, you can see the class recording of today's. Likewise, everyday class recording will be available in your LMS. Thank you all. Good day. Have a great Sunday and happy weekend. Thank you all. Bye, everyone.